Good morning. The title of today's devotional is Wrestling and Winning a Blessing. One of the fascinating stories in the Old Testament is that of Jacob's all-night wrestling match with this unusual man. The story is told in Genesis 32, verse 1 and following. The part of the narrative that has intrigued me through the years is when they come to a standoff, having wrestled all night long. Both of them are worn out. The man finally asks Jacob to let him go. Jacob replies, "I will not let you go unless you give me a blessing." I have adapted the meaning of this story to engage in a wrestling match. I've adapted that to my study of the scriptures. Sometimes I have great difficulty finding the central meaning of a passage, and I want very much to get to the core of the matter that I'm wrestling with. In my mind and heart, I say, I'm not going to let you go until this passage of scripture gives me a blessing. I want to really plumb the depths of the truth of the passage, to work with the words until their ultimate meaning is given to me. I want to win a blessing through my study, and the blessing will be a revealing of the deepest meaning of the passage to me. For example, some of the teachings of Jesus, especially in the Sermon on the Mount, have a sort of surface meaning, if you will, fairly obvious with just a cursory reading. But the sentence or the verse almost invites the searcher and seeker to wrestle with the passage and not let go until the deeper meaning has been revealed to him. Such a verse is recorded in Jesus' teaching in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5:38. Jesus' opening declaration sets the stage for us to hear his words in a very radically different way. He says, "You have heard that it was said, but I say to you." I'm about to hear something a little different. Jesus is going to make a comparison for me, and I want to know what he's comparing and what he's trying to tell me. Jesus strikes a different and fundamental difference between what was said and what he's going to say to us. I need to sit up and take notice, and the wrestling match begins. To be specific, let's take verse 41 and narrow our search and our wrestling match. "And if anyone forces you to go with him 1 mile, go with them also the 2nd mile. No refusal, no retaliation, no revenge, no argument about it." What is Jesus telling us to do, inviting us to do with his Christly advice? My wrestling match has uncovered perhaps some of the reasons that Jesus has for us to go the 2nd mile. If I choose to go a 2nd mile, I am deciding who I am and what I believe, instead of just allowing the other person's treatment of me to determine how I will react in my life. I am refusing to give away my power to another person. I will not let the way that this person has treated me to determine how I'm going to treat them. I will not give my power away. Let me read you a quote from one of my favorite authors and writers, Father John Powell. It's from his book, Why Am I Afraid to Tell You Who I Am? This is his story. The fully human person is an actor, not a reactor. The syndicated columnist Sidney Harris tells the story of accompanying his friend to a newsstand. The friend greeted the newsman very courteously, but in return received gruff and discourteous service. Accepting the newspaper which was shoved rudely in his direction, the friend of Harris politely smiled and wish the newsman a nice weekend. Does he always treat you so rudely? Yes, unfortunately he does. And are you always so polite and friendly to him? Yes, I am. Why are you so nice to him when he is so unfriendly to you? Because I don't want him to decide how I'm going to act. The suggestion is that the fully human person is his own person, that he is not at the mercy of all the pettiness, the meanness, the impatience, and the anger of others. Atmospheres do not transform him as much as he transforms them, unquote. The maxim that I have written for myself reads this way. Please hear this very carefully. You are not responsible for how the other person treats you, but you are responsible for how you treat the other person. Let me say and read that again. You are not responsible for how the other person treats you, but you are responsible for how you treat the other person. My test for the validity and truth of this maxim is in this question. Is this the way Jesus lived in his life, with his relationships? And I firmly believe the answer is an unqualified yes. My invitation to each of you, don't give your power away to anyone. Don't let how you have been treated or are being treated determine the kind of person you are and the kind of person that you want to be. Please know this. Jesus will help you to act and react in loving and caring ways. What about asking Jesus to help you live that way today?